Hey guys, Captain Walnut back with a quick Minecraft video for you today. I was messing around with some command blocks for a custom map I've been working on, and I came up with a pretty cool concept that I want to share with you. So it's pretty annoying that dispensers can't plant things, right? They can't plant saplings, they can't plant seeds or anything else like that. They just pop right out like that. It's kind of frustrating and annoying. Actually, I guess for seeds it need to be tilled, huh? There you go. See? It just pops out like that, and it's pretty frustrating that it doesn't work the way you want it to. So, hey, break, will you? There we go. um, but no longer do we have to worry about that. I came up with some cool command block commands that can actually make all this work the way you think it should, and it's not like you think I'm doing it. So let me just turn on the clock to actually make sure everything's checking. And now if I put saplings in there, look, it plants. Huzzah! And I can actually go around anywhere in the world, and I don't want that there. And I can put saplings in there, and boom! And the dispenser can face any direction. It doesn't really matter. Excuse me, that was a burp. Yeah, but it doesn't matter the direction that the saplings are facing, and they do actually grow. See? Well, this one might not, because it's right next to another big tree. Or it might take a lot of... Is it raining right now? No, it's not. Okay. Hello? Why doesn't anything want to grow? There we go. Yeah, see, so these actually are real saplings. Um, they actually grow, and I can do the same thing with seeds and everything else like that. So this row is responsible for saplings. This row is responsible for wheat seeds. So let's go ahead and turn that on and try that. So again, I can place this anywhere randomly in the world. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter if the button's on the top or on the side or anything like that. It doesn't matter what direction the dispenser's facing, which is all very nice stuff. And you might be saying, Kurt, you're cheating. You're cheating. All you have to do is throw a wheat seed in front. Nope, not true. If I throw a wheat seed in front, that's not what's happening. Same thing with a sapling. If I throw a sapling in front, that's not what's happening either. You see that? It didn't plant automatically. But if I put saplings in here, it does plant. Yay! So that's pretty cool. And these aren't custom named saplings or seeds or anything like that. These are just seeds that you get. You know, they're just normal seeds. So I'm not cheating in any way like that. This is legit. You know, I don't know how else to say it. It's as good as I can get it to work. So the way I'm actually doing this, let's get into the actual commands, and it works the exact same way for potatoes and carrots, and I haven't implemented in spruce, birch, jungle, acacia, or dark oak yet, but it's straightforward. They're all exactly the same for the most part. Um, so yeah, so let's get into talking about it. So for each item for the oak sapling, I've got two objectives set up. One for is sapling, and one for is sap plant. I know these are just names I made up on the spot. For those of you that don't really know how to use these objectives, what you can do is you can set up a brand new objective, is sapling, or whatever you want to name it. This is just a random name I make up, and I'm calling it a dummy variable. So it's storing it in a scoreboard, but it's not going to display it, and that's just a way to keep track of stuff. And I can assign scores to entities that way. So items, mobs, everything like that. And all I had to do is, press that button to turn those objectives on. Once that button's been pressed once in the world, it never needs to be pressed again, so I could actually get rid of these two command blocks if I wanted to. The next thing I'm doing is this is just to turn on and off the clock. That's all these guys do. This one places a redstone block right there. This one places an air block right there, so it just turns on and off the clock. This is actually the clock. What it does is it goes through and it looks for stone. Looks for stone, and it replaces it with redstone block, all in this line here. You can see it only goes back to here though, and from there to there. So if I get rid of that and I put a stone there, you can see it turns into a redstone block, which is pretty cool. And then this one does the exact opposite, looks for stone and replaces it with redstone. This one looks for redstone blocks and replaces it with stone. This one looks for stone and replaces it with redstone blocks. So that's just a clock. That's a 20 tick per second clock. So every single tick of the game, it does an update here. Now let's actually get into the real meat and potatoes of everything. So the way I check to see if it's not dropped by a player, That's the most important thing I'm doing right now, is I'm checking if it's not dropped by a player, is right here, the age and pickup delay. So you know when you throw an item out in front of you, you can't pick it up right away. It takes a couple, ticks. It takes nearly a second to pop back into your inventory. That's this pickup delay right here. The item knows how long its pickup delay is, and that's going to count down over time to 0, and once it hits 0, you can pick it up. Notice that if let me turn off saplings here. If I stand in front of this dispenser that has saplings, boom, I picked it up right away because its pickup delay is 0. So that's pretty cool. So when a player drops something, its pickup delay is 0. So I'm checking is if its age is 0, meaning it's brand new, it's just been dropped, and its pickup delay is 0, that means that a player did not drop that item. It was either dropped by a container, like a dispenser, or a dropper, or came out of a broken chest, or it came out of a leaf decaying, or it came out of a breaking block, or any other method except for mobs or players dropping it. So that's pretty cool. So let's actually go through this whole command for those of you that want to know. So look, actually I don't even need this slash there in a command block. Scoreboard, players, set. I'm looking for entities of type item. So is it an item, not a mob or a player or anything like that? And then if this data back here inside the curly brackets is true, then add 1 point to the is sapling score of that item, if that makes sense. So basically, I find an item that meets these conditions, and then give it a brand new field called is sapling, and then put 1 point inside of it, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so here I'm checking if it actually is a sapling. Here I'm checking the age is 0. Here I'm checking the pickup delay is 0. Yep, that's all there is to it. Now, these next 4 blocks here, check if it is so that, like I said, only checks if it wasn't thrown by a player. It doesn't actually check if it was thrown by a dispenser, because there's no real way to do that. So the next best thing is to check if, while its age is still 0, if it's beside a dispenser, because if its age is 0 and it's beside a dispenser, it's pretty likely that it came from that dispenser. It's not, 100% certainty, but most situations in Minecraft, you're not going to get a 0 age item next to a dispenser that didn't come from the dispenser. So I can go through here and check all that stuff. So here we go. Look, I'm already, right here is that thing before from this command block over here. That is sapling. I'm checking if it has a score of at least 1 or has a score of exactly 1. And then just relative position, those 3 tildes right there. And then if that's true, then I detect below it. That's what I'm doing first. First I'm checking below it to see if there's grass, because you have to make sure it's on a valid plantable block. You can't plant saplings on stone or on wood or anything like that. So it's checking if it's grass, and then the direction the grass is facing is 0, because, stuff. And if both of those are true, then execute the next thing. So now I'm still looking for those saplings. I unfortunately have to redefine this each time. So still I'm looking for saplings that passed the previous test and passed the test earlier in this same command block. And I'm detecting if in the positive X direction there's a dispenser. And notice the dispenser, I'm checking if it's facing the -1 direction, because I don't actually care which way it's facing, and it actually takes longer to check if it's facing in the correct direction. It takes so long to check that sometimes the sapling can, as when a dispenser throws something, let's turn this off again. When a dispenser throws something, boom, it flies out and it moves pretty fast. And so if you check if it's facing in the right direction, like, north, south, east, west, or whatever, then the sapling's moving fast enough that can pass out of the block that's next to the dispenser before the check is completed, and then of course the check fails. It also doesn't like to check moving entities for that type of information that well. So yeah, so I turn this back on, but still, yay. Yeah. So that's all this is doing. This just checks, if it was in the positive X direction here. This checks if it's in the negative X direction. This checks if it's in the positive Z direction. This checks if it's in the negative Z direction. So effectively I've checked all 4 sides around the sapling to see if there's a dispenser. Same thing down here. It's exactly the same, except all I'm checking for is, see if I can find it, dirt. See it right here, dirt. So checking if there's dirt below it. Otherwise, checking in all 4 directions to the dispenser, just like the other ones. And then if that's true, you can see at the end here if all those conditions are met, so both this one and the stuff, so both the first command block I had and the 2 different conditions inside of here, being on top of grass or dirt or next to a dispenser, then I increment is sap plant by 1. And if that is true, if is sap plant has a score of at least 1 or exactly 1, then go ahead and set a block to sapling. Change the block that it's within, tilde, 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 relative to itself. Set the block in the same area as sapling. That's all it's doing. And then, of course, you got to get rid of it, because if you don't get rid of it, then 1, it'll keep trying to replant saplings in the same space, and 2, it will, what will it do? Oh, it will not look like it was planted. If the item doesn't disappear, if the item entity doesn't disappear when the actual sapling gets planted, it looks like, it didn't, the item entity wasn't the thing that planted it. So we got to kill the item that meets that is sap plant thing. The exact same thing is happening with the seeds. I have 2 different new dummy variables, is seed and is seed plant, and they do the exact same thing as their brothers over here. And then I have the on and off clock for this guy, the clock, the exact same type of checks, except now what I'm checking for is, well, first I'm checking if it's seed, and then I store that information into is seed. And here I'm checking for, let's go all the way back over to here, detecting for farmland below it. And the farmland I'm checking if it's also -1 because I don't care about the moisture of the farmland. That's what this is responsible for telling me. What's the moisture of the farmland? And I don't care if it's dry or wet. So that's why I'm saying -1. Yeah, so all these are the same. Same thing happens for potatoes. Same things happens for carrots. So yeah. I will try to put I'll put these basic commands up on, at least I'll put the commands up for, let's do wheat seeds. I'll put the commands up for wheat seeds on Pastebin and put a link in the description. So, but yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and I shall catch you next time. Bye-bye.